Hey everybody, this is Minion Soldier, and this is the piracy show that was going to be the ship updates, because the ship updates was going to be instead of the piracy show, but then everything got turned around because I started watching the Star Citizen presentation, yada yada yada. Ship updates focus strictly on the Pioneer. So without further ado, let's get started. So of course, the Pioneer. Hints had been dropped before, but now the ship is finally out there. It got revealed yesterday. There was a full panel on it today, and we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about the ship, and I like it. I think it's a fantastic ship. I think it's one of the best designs they've ever put out. And, you know, I have to note the fact that in the panel, when they're talking about the ship, they were talking about emphasizing function over form. And, you know, it seems that with these industrial ships, that's a common theme. They emphasize function over form. And generally, when you look at things like the Crucible, when you look at things like the Reclaimer, the Orion, and now the Pioneer, when they do that, you generally end up with some of the best ships they've ever designed. Now, first off, let's talk about the appearance of the ship. Now, far too often with so many ships in Star Citizen, there's almost an inherent blandness in their design with this rigid approach to ships looking like other ships from the same manufacturer, sometimes to such a degree that the ships become bland and unremarkable and boring. Whereas this ship kind of goes in an entirely different direction. It goes asymmetrical, it goes angular, but it's not an unfamiliar artistic style because it was present in the Homeworld game series. And it seems to kind of take a little bit from that in terms of overall stylistic influence to produce something that is unique within the Star Citizen universe and something that was direly needed for a long, long time, which is a refreshingly original take on starships, and especially one where they emphasized function, so the end resulting ship made sense too. What became apparent from the actual panel at CitizenCon was that the emphasis placed on the logical layout of the ship, not only just does it look good, but where is the construction bay going to be? Where is the cargo going to go? Where are the gantries that place the parts of the parts of the outpost once they're built? Where are those going to go? How is it all going to fit together? How can we make it more compact and then open it up to allow for the construction of an outpost? All these things, when you put all these logical elements and almost in a way constraints on an artist, you actually end up with a better ship, because even though it may not follow someone's subjective idea of artistic beauty, that functionality, that emphasis on function, that utilitarianism almost seems to instill a beauty of its own on the ship. Some of the best looking ships in the Star Citizen universe were designed with this approach, though of course with the Orion, yes, it needs to either lose a row of cargo pods or add a fourth spinning row of cargo pods. Otherwise, the torque from that spinning will cause it to rotate counterclockwise in place. But apart from that, these are still some of the best looking designs in the Star Citizen universe because they look like real ships that do a real thing. And I mean, each one is unique and very unique, not only within its own field, but within its own manufacturer, because it adheres to function over form. Now, practicality. Now, this is a place where, of course, during the demo that we saw at CitizenCon, or at least the panel on this ship rather, we got so much detail, not just in the creation of the ship, but in its application and in the spirit of the idea that they're going for with this ship. They talked about claiming land in UEE space. You would have to go and purchase land, and that might require exploration, developing knowledge of that land. How good is it? Now perhaps you can get land with, as they were talking about, copper ore on it, but there's no refinery nearby. But what if you bring in this ship and not only build the mine, but build the refinery as well? And then you can technically drive up the value of your land, or at least be in a situation where not only are you the miner, you're also the refiner, so you control the process, you control the supply chain from yourself to your customers. They really went into a lot of depth without giving you the essential nuts and bolts, the ones and zeros of every little fact of what this ship is going to become. They gave you the spirit of the idea they're going for and what their aims are. And that in and of itself, I think, gave this ship a lot more value than a lot of the other ships in Star Citizen, because a lot of these ideas that they've explored or talked about before were always very nebulous, whereas with this, they kind of gave you more of an idea of how this system is going to work, and it was logical and simple. Now, it's whatever you want to use the ship for, I guess. If you want to set up a mine, a farm, a homestead, a drug lab, you can do that. The applications of this ship are quite various, or possibly quite nefarious as well. It presents a lot of interesting gameplay possibilities. It does not require a large crew. It makes sense as a ship. So as someone who may be running an org who's looking to set up their own base, this kind of looks like a pretty valuable ship to have. But what happens once you've built that base? What do you do with the ship the day after you've built your base, built your refinery, built your mine, built your drug lab? Think about it for a second. After you've built that facility, are you just going to go build another, and then another, and then another? Because that's kind of why you would buy a ship like this, is because you're in the construction business. You're not in the mining business. Now you might say, oh, well, I'm going to set up mines all over space, and all these different, who are these, all these different people are going to run it for me. Who are all these different people? Are you sure? Are you entirely sure? Because this is quite an investment in that application. It's an excellent ship for that application, but is this a vehicle that's going to allow you to make money, or a vehicle that's going to cause you to spend money? Think about it for a second. Now, I know that whenever the new ship comes out, the hot new ship comes out, there's always that drive, oh my god, I gotta get it. And a lot of what drives that emotion with a lot of people is the idea that they went a few years ago, they bought the flashy new ship. Now, a few years later, possibly that ship hasn't been delivered yet, or is in development, or they're waiting for this, that, and the other thing to come online, and then they're going to build that ship. And they've been waiting for their ship so long that all of a sudden the hot new ship comes out, and they go, oh, I gotta have that. And they get that almost that adrenaline rush from buying the new ship, only to realize that it's probably going to be 2-3 years down the road before they see even that ship. And they do it again and again and again. So look at it logically and think, am I getting this ship because my org is going to be building outposts for people all over space, or am I getting this ship because it's the hot new ship? Because this is a ship that you probably will not see for 2 to 3 years. Remember, the ships like I was talking about recently on ship updates, the Reclaimer. The Reclaimer was originally sold in 2014. It is now 2017, over 3 years later, and we're still waiting for that ship. So even if you buy the ship today, it could be a long time before you're able to start construction on anything with it. So all I'm saying is, this might be the ship for you. This might be an excellent ship for you to buy, but just remember, it's probably going to be a while before you ever get to use it. And are you sure about what you're going to use it for? Everybody wants to buy it to build an outpost. That's what everyone wants. But what happens the day after the outpost is built? How many outposts are you really going to need to build while you're playing Star Citizen, is that really all that you're going to do? So if you're probably looking at more of a construction career, then this is probably going to be an ideal ship for you. Whereas if you're just looking to have an outpost set up for you, maybe you would rather just hire someone who owns this ship to do that job for you. So in the end, my conclusion is it is a very impressive vessel. And if you're deciding to focus on construction, really, it's the only game in town right now. And that is, I think, a good enough reason to get it, especially if you're, once again, a construction-minded person. But for the general player in the Star Citizen universe, you can spend your money on whatever ship you want. It's your right. You can do whatever you want with your money. All I'm saying is make sure that this is exactly what you need in the future. Because remember, the anniversary sale is coming up in roughly about a month. There's going to be a whole lot of ships that are going to be available. And even though this ship might help you do that one thing that you want to do in the universe, there's probably a lot of ships out there that day in, day out, you're going to get a lot more value out of and a lot more use out of than the Pioneer. In the end, it's up to you. But that is my opinion on the Pioneer. An excellent ship, fantastic. But just make sure that before you buy it, you think about the practical day in, day out applications of this ship for not only you, but your org as well. Anyways, that's this Ship Updates Pioneer special episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.